Well, I still don't have my hoodie because the heat wave is still here. You should be thankful I'm not shirtless. Anyway, I found out that there is an old tier list of old champions from Season 3 of League of Legends. Now, curiously enough, if you've seen our last coverage on League Classic, you might have seen that we saw the list of champions that was data mined, but after that, it was confirmed that there should be more champions available. Meddler himself confirmed this, and he did confirm that, for example, Old Urgot will actually be in League Classic, which means we are not sure how far they will go, but there should be a lot more champions than what we found so far. Which means, why don't we go crazy? And why don't we actually rank every single champion that was available in Season 3, which is seemingly what Riot is aiming for, and we will rank these champions based on a very specific scale. So, we are not ranking them based on how good they actually are, and like, besides S tier being OP. No, we are actually ranking these based on how different they are from the modern versions of the champions and how much fun they are to play. And so, let's dive straight into this. I can't believe there's no way Aatrox is actually gonna be in Classic. There is no way. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I really liked Old Aatrox. So the way Old Aatrox worked is that you were swapping stances, and this is a mechanic that has never really been brought back, but essentially with your W you used to swap stance. Either you had a damage stance, which means that on every third hit, and yes, keep in mind that there will be a lot of 3-hit passives here, on every third hit you dealt more damage, but you also took away some of your own health. Now then you also had defensive stance, which instead of dealing damage, healed you on every third hit. Then I believe your Q was just a hit, E wasn't even a dash. Am I crazy? I can't actually remember what Q and E is. See how crazy this is? Literally all that Aatrox did was auto attack, and that is because Aatrox was supposed to play off of Tryndamere because their lore was all together, and Tryndamere, all he ever did is auto attack, and so Aatrox was also supposed to auto attack. That's why he had these stances. So yes, if you liked Old Aatrox, you probably liked auto-attacking a lot, and so all you really do is just swap from offensive auto-attacks that damage you or healing auto-attacks, and that's it. And I really enjoyed it, and of course, yes, there is the ultimate that empowers you, and there is the revive, that is still part of his kit. Anyway, next, Ahri. Ahri, I'm gonna be honest, boring. It's the same Ahri we have today. There is almost no difference. Then there is Akali. Now Akali, I personally did not like playing her. That's very just me problem. But I don't know if she's gonna be OP. Maybe she is gonna be overpowered compared to all the other champions, especially with the modern knowledge that we have. So what old Akali did is that you marked the enemy with your Q, you had your little dash, you had the smoke screen, and that's all you really did. I believe she had her E actually wasn't the dash, her ultimate was the dash. Her E was a little slice around her, unless they swapped it to W, but I don't think so. W is gonna be the smoke screen. And I just remember her being really broken, not because her kit was broken. Like, it's literally, you throw your Q, you mark the enemy. If you hit the enemy, you heal and deal more damage. That's it. And every other ability is just damage. No, it's broken because of the items. We talked about this last time. Hybrid items are ridiculously well optimized, and so we'll get to Mordekaiser, we will get to Jax later. But yes, Akali, it's very easy to build her. It is very easy to play her. People are gonna have fun with her at the very least. Then there's Alistar. Alistar, for the most part. The only difference with Alistar, I will say it's boring because it is nearly the same as the old one. The only difference is that his E was just a heal. Alistar used to have just a heal that was AoE around you, and it decreased cooldown based on I believe either how much damage you took or how many abilities were cast around you. One of these two. It was supposed to be like a mechanic that like enraged you and you were healing more, but other than that, it's the same, Alistar. Q, W is the same, ultimate is the same. It's literally just the E that is a heal. And next there is Amumu. Amumu is the same as he is today. And I think, literally, I do not believe there is anything that's different. Besides the fact that, actually, no. Modern Amumu has multiple Qs. The old one has just one Q. And I think that's the only difference. So then there is Anivia. Anivia is gonna be good. Because I believe it depends on which version of Anivia this is gonna be. Because the old Anivia, I believe, didn't even have range indicator or a range limit for her ultimate. You just cast her ultimate, and the ultimate was there until you just turned it off. Which, you know, you did eventually because it ate a lot of mana. And just keep in mind that all of these champions are mana hungry in Classic League. That's why, junglers will still take the blue buff, and everyone will complain that they don't have the blue buff. But also, that's one of the reasons why Akali is gonna be really fun to play. It's because she doesn't have mana, and you will be able to tell. So yes, Anivia, while her Q, her E, and the wall are the same, the ultimate alone is actually mechanically such a big difference. People are gonna like this one. It's not super broken, it's not that different, but people are gonna like this one. Then there's Annie, and I want to put her into boring too, because Annie is the same. And you know what? Sure, just for the purpose of this video, to kind of show you the differences between the champions, Annie is the same. She doesn't even give Tibbers the shield with her E, I think. Back then, like, everything was just on her own, and Tibbers was just a separate unit, and that was it. Nothing too crazy. Now, Ashe. Actually, modern Ashe is quite different, because Ashe, I'm gonna put her into OK, because there are some differences. The old Ashe worked like anyone else, where you could crit, you dealt a lot of damage, you didn't have the Q wasn't increased speed. What did the Q even do? I think the Q was just the slow, and that was it. Because the W was the volley, E was still the vision, ultimate is the same, and I think Q was just a slow. Am I crazy? Oh, okay, I had to Google it. Oh my god, so her Q was the toggle. You toggled between you having normal auto attacks and your auto attacks slowing the enemy but also eating your mana. She's a meh. There is a difference, but you know what? Blitzcrank. So Blitzcrank. There is a reason why Blitzcrank was actually good in, especially lower elo. It's because there were no real downsides to his builds. So originally, when Blitzcrank got the champion spotlight, he was actually meant to be a bruiser. Like, you were supposed to build Trinity Force, and it was supposed to be a fighter. It was not supposed to be necessarily a support, but that's what it became eventually. The thing is that his W doesn't have the slow on him anymore, or, you know, now it does, it didn't before, which means his entire kit doesn't have any downsides. So the Q is the same, his E is the same, the W gives you the attack speed and the movement speed, no slow, so you just charge at the enemy, you're unstoppable. And then the ultimate had the active component of you just destroy everyone if you go AP, or if you do not have your ultimate, or sorry, if the ultimate is off cooldown and you didn't use it, it will passively zap people around you. These days, you need to hit someone to activate the passive. No, before, it was just passively killing stuff around you, which means you were accidentally stealing champions. But you will see that the old Blitzcrank was just stronger version of this one, of the one that we have right now. And it was crazy fun to play, because a lot of the things were automated. Again, no downsides, people will like Blitzcrank. Next, Brand. Brand is meh. It's the same Brand. Except the new passive is essentially like a bonus ability where if you hit people with 3 abilities, they explode. Back in the day, nah, that's not a thing. He just burns enemies. So it's the same one, except maybe slightly worse. Yeah. Caitlyn, speaking of meh, I think Caitlyn might be actually boring. That's a very personal take, okay, but boring in this video is essentially a tier that tells you this is the champion that we have right now with minimal differences. But they are not necessarily worse. I would say like Brand is maybe worse. Caitlyn, I'm trying to figure out if there is like a major difference. I know her passive actually now gives you more stacks if you hit from bush, and I don't think that was the case before. It was just a 7-hit passive, and that was it. So Cassiopeia. Now, I have no idea which version of Cassiopeia we're getting. I'm gonna say good. Everyone always liked Cassiopeia. So, of course, the new version doesn't allow you to buy boots. There are, like, her passive was redesigned so many times. The old version is just a good mage. You spit at people with the Q. The W does not prevent dashes or anything else. It's just like a AoE Q that does slightly less damage, and it's a big slow. And then, of course, you trigger your E with the cooldown going off if you hit someone that's poisoned. The difference is that the reduction on the E is kind of ridiculous on the old version of Cassiopeia, so it's not... You'll see that the gameplay is a lot more hectic, like you'll have no idea what you're actually doing. The downside is that she doesn't really get the movement speed from hitting people, which is how she works right now because she doesn't have the boots. The old version, if you didn't have boots, you were really slow, but you were a killing machine. If anyone came close to you, you just killed them all. So you'll see the old Cassiopeia is kind of the new one, but more on steroids, except you are slower. That's that. Cho'Gath, I like Cho'Gath. Cho'Gath is gonna be just Cho'Gath. There is nothing crazy there. Corki! I don't think we are getting the Corki with the big bombs, are we? I think it was like season 4, 5, 6, something like that, is when Corki got the big passive where he carried the bomb and, you know, charged across the map. This is gonna be the old Corki. People are gonna like one thing. I'm gonna put him into good, as in like good fun. Not because he's good. And that's the fact that AP Corki was fun to play. You'll see that AP Corki deals a lot of damage, and so I'm gonna put him here. You'll see there will be other champions that will be played as AP that will be crazy, but we'll get to those. Next, Darius. Darius is good, because Darius, the Juggernaut update that League got was meant to aim at all the Juggernauts in top lane, make them a little bit more stronger, but make them slower, so that the point would be that if you get close to them, you die, but you can kite them. Well, old Darius, you couldn't kite him. The range on his E was bigger, I believe, slightly. The Q was instant. There is no, like... You wait for the enemy to, like, you try to catch them in a circle and then you hit them. No! The old Darius, you press Q, it instantly slices, and you just kill people left and right. And of course, the ultimate resets. The W is still ridiculous slow. Actually, it depends. I think the first version, the slow wasn't that big, but the bleed damage is ridiculous. The bleeding damage is way stronger than it is in Modern League. So people will have fun with Darius. Diana! I was never really a big fan of Diana. I didn't really play Assassins that much. I think people will like her old kit. That was before her ultimate was like sucking people in and stuff like that. Actually, no, it's not ultimate. Sorry, it's the other way around. Now, the ultimate is the dash, and like her abilities were moved all over the place. In the old one, it's way simpler. You mark them with your Q, you dash to them, your W is the shield, and then you just nuke them with the ultimate. And that's it. Way simpler. People are gonna like this one. She's gonna be good. Draven. There is a really good chance Draven is gonna be ridiculous. And that depends, because old Draven, if he's gonna be in League Classic, didn't have the gold from his passive. Instead, he had a ridiculous bleed. Now, this bleed eventually was nerfed to a state where it didn't really deal damage anymore, and it was kind of like, whatever. Like, for the most part, the bleed could be just out-regenerated with base health regen. That's kind of a problem with Modern League these days. Bleeding, not that useful. Back in the day, every crit that Draven did dealt, like, percentage of that damage as bleed damage, which meant it ramped up really quickly, and it was ridiculous. So there is a really good chance that if Draven makes it into League Classic, he's gonna be ridiculous. Then there is Mundo. Old Mundo was a really great jungler. You'll see, Old Mundo just activated your W. It kept damaging all the monsters. You held overtime really well. Technically, you didn't need any buffs. This is what's awesome about junglers that don't have mana. Technically, you don't need the blue buff, because the blue buff is there to really just give you mana, mainly, because most junglers will need them. Mundo now, so... while his E has slight differences, because E doesn't like throw minions away, but the Q is the same. The E is still a big chunk of damage. The W deals damage around you, and the ultimate gives you health. As a jungler, you'll see Mundo is gonna have some fun. Then there is Elise. I wonder if she's gonna make it into Classic. Elise is, for the most part, I think actually the same. Nothing too crazy. And then, oh my god, Old Evelynn, people are gonna have fun with this one. So, I wonder, now I don't remember when was the stealth rework, because from a certain season, stealth was reworked so that you could see stealth champions when they were close to you. Believe it or not, that was not the case before. In fact, Evelynn kind of became infamous because Evelynn's stealth is permanent. Or used to be. We'll see how it's gonna change now. But Evelynn is gonna be in stealth permanently, and until she attacks or until she appears near a true sight ward or a turret, no one will be able to see her. So what you used to do in Old League is that you used to buy Sunfire Cape on Evelynn, and Evelynn just stood near you and did nothing. And because most abilities were not skill shots and they were point and click, no one could target you and you were just burning enemies. And I wanna see that in Classic, because I wanna see what kind of counterplay people figure out against it with the modern knowledge. But yes, Old Evelynn is permanently stealthed. She can gank anywhere. Her Q is just damage. Her E is just damage. There's a little bit of slow on that, and that's it. So, and of course there is a CC. So people will like that one. Then there is Ezreal. So Ezreal actually has... No, hold on. Oh my god, that brought up a memory. People will like AP Ezreal. So, AD Ezreal is pretty much the same. The only difference is that for modern Ezreal, the W marks the enemy, and then you hit them with something else, and that's gonna deal damage. Old Ezreal, the W was a skill shot in a line that hit all allies and all enemies. It dealt damage to enemies, and it sped up the attack speed of your allies. Crazy ability! And it dealt a lot of damage if you had AP. It had no AD scaling. So AP Ezreal jumped in with his E, he dealt an insane AoE damage with his W, and then he ulted everyone, and people just died if he was fed. So AP Ezreal, people are gonna like this one. I almost wanna say, you know what, fun? I'm gonna put him into S tier, which is like our fun or OP tier, because people are gonna have fun with AP Ezreal. Fiddlesticks. He has to be fun for one reason. So, the fear is the same, he is draining, except he's draining single target, okay? No, the broken ability is not even his ultimate. His ultimate, sure, it is broken because it is what it is, especially in League Classic. No, it's the E. So his E throws out a crow that scales insanely well with AP, and that crow bounces, I believe, like 7 or 9 times. Meaning, if there are 2 targets next to each other, you throw the crow at one of them, and it's gonna bounce between the 2 of them, and they just disintegrate. Like, people will like old Fiddlesticks. Just be ready for the fact that old Fiddlesticks either is useless or he's insanely good, depending on who's your opponent. Because if people interrupt you, you're just screwed, and there is not much you can do with it. So then there is, Fiora. So Fiora, Fiora is very, okay, fun time. Fiora, what she used to do is that, I believe her E just gave her attack speed, her Q just gave her multiple hits, her W was a parry, but it didn't, it was, I believe it just blocked damage, it didn't CC you? Hold on, I have to Google that just to make sure. Yes, her W actually parried the next attack and dealt damage to the enemy, and the E was the attack speed and the Q was the extra damage. And the ultimate was, if you know Blade Waltz from Era Mayhem, which is very useless augment, that was actually her ultimate, where she just attached to an enemy, she kept blinking around them, she dealt a lot of damage. People will like old Fiora. The issue is, old Fiora, if she is fed, there is literally no counterplay. Because she presses her ultimate, she is untargetable, she attaches to the enemy, and she kills them. And that's it. So then, there is Fizz. So Fizz... I will say Fizz is boring, because it's the same champion, it's the same thing. The only thing that changed is that his ultimate doesn't scale with the distance. It's just, if you throw the ultimate, it is big regardless of what you hit, so Fizz is Fizz. Galio, fun. Galio, big difference, big fun. I like this one. So Galio threw a bomb with his Q. The W was the taunt. That was just, you didn't charge it, you just popped it and you taunted people. E is still the wind gust, except now it is in a line and it travels really far. You'll be surprised about that one. And actually, I lied. The ultimate was the taunt. What was the W? Hold on, Google time. Oh my god, yes! The ultimate was the channeled taunt. Kinda like Nunu, except you were taunting people towards you. His W gave him resistances, and for every hit that hit him, he got healed. Meaning that you put the shield on you, you taunt enemies around you, and as they hit you, they actually heal you up. I remember why this was broken. It's because not only did he scale with magic resistance, which is what he does now as well, but if you played him as pure AP, it was just a nuke waiting to taunt the enemies. I remember that one, and yes, that was broken. And speaking of broken, I can see that the next one in line is Gangplank. Gangplank is ridiculous. In the previous video, we talked about the meta golem, which is you building Warmogs and you building Atmas Impaler, which gives you crit damage. You can also get crit damage from Trinity Force. Trinity Force, of course, applied from on hits. You also get Everrise, which gives you gold at first, and then it gives you crit damage, which also builds into Atmas Impaler, meaning Gangplank heavily benefits from the Meta Golem build, which is ridiculous, and that is because Gangplank, all he ever does, he does have the oranges, which cleanse CC and heal him. He does have a little bit of melee damage from his E, but the point is his Q is just a ranged hit that targets the enemy. It can't crit, and it deals insane damage because it applies on hit from the Trinity Force, and because it can crit, it benefits from the Atma Impaler. And of course the ultimate is still the same. But crit, Gangplank was a menace in top lane because usually there is nothing you can do against it. He just hits you with the Q anytime he has it on cooldown, and that's it. That's all he ever does. And it is very annoying to deal with. However, if you are playing Gangplank, you will have fun. And that's really the spirit of old League. If you played OP champions, you had fun, but no one else did. So then there is Garen. I want to say Garen is boring, but there is one big difference. The way Garen scaled back in the day was way different. He has a lot more damage. Be ready for the fact that if you build AD Garen, he actually has way more damage than he does these days. But for the most part, his kit should be nearly the same. It's really just the numbers. Old Garen was definitely not built for New League, and that's because there is a reason why he became spin to win. It's because it actually was like that back in the day. If you gave him Infinity Edge, he did actually spin and killed everyone. And that was it. Then there is Gragas. Gragas, for the most part, is gonna be the same, I'm pretty sure. There is no extra hit after you cast abilities. All his passive was is that he got healed after he cast ability. That's it. Then there is Graves. People will hate Graves. So Graves' Q shot 3 shots, which could hit literally any target they met, meaning that if Graves stood next to you and he queued in front of him, all 3 of the shots would hit the enemy, all 3 would count for the full damage. I believe later it was nerfed so that every other hit with his Q went down by 30%. Still ridiculous damage, meaning that at level 2, after he got the dash, if he was paired with someone like Leona, we'll get to Leona later, Leona jumped at the target, Graves dashed to the target, to be close, he Q'd, and that wiped like half of the enemy's damage. That's all he really did. Also, keep in mind that Graves was a short-range AD carry back in the day. His range, you know, he didn't have the passive auto-attacking whatever he has right now, even though that one is also fun. No, back in the day, he was actually normal AD carry that just has shorter range. And as a result, he had passive that gave him a lot of resistances the longer he stayed in combat. So he was really tanky. That was because he was supposed to be in short range. And he had insane nuking damage at close range. Kinda broken if you combine it together. So next, there is Hecarim. Hecarim is the same. There's almost like a little to no difference. There's nothing crazy happening there. Then there's Heimerdinger. Heimerdinger. I will put Heimerdinger next to Garen because it's the same thing where Heimerdinger was just not built for Modern League, where his old version, I believe, didn't even give him the bigger turret, or even like he shot a lot of missiles or anything like that. So the way old Heimerdinger worked is that he just placed down turrets. Those were really strong back then. His grenade was still the stun damage, but his W actually shot rockets towards, I believe, 3 of the nearest targets. It wasn't a skill shot, it just like targeted the enemies. And I believe his ultimate enhanced the damage on his W. Hold on, I think it's googling time again. Yes, so the ultimate, depending on which version we get, because the first version of the ultimate only gave him a bigger turret, but the newer version, either, I believe, it... Okay, so when you activated your ultimate, you upgraded your next ability, and either your grenade got increased range, so you could throw it further. It didn't bounce, it was just more range. The W shot out more rockets. Instead of 3, it set out 5, and or if you use it on your Q, you got a bigger turret. Just like how it happens now, but that's it. But you'll see, especially with the poke from his W, people will like Heimerdinger. He's not gonna be as broken as anyone up here, but yes, Heimerdinger is still pretty good. Now, Irelia is gonna be broken. If old Irelia makes it into League, it's gonna be ridiculous because she still has a dash. But the most broken thing about her, I would say, was actually the ridiculous stun. Because what she did is that Irelia got healing on auto attacks. That was actually really good. But for the most part, she just dashed towards you. The Q dealt a lot of damage. She stunned you with her E. That was just an instant stun. And then she just auto-attacked you to death. And then her ultimate shot out blades in front of her, or like whatever you pointed. Which means she had AoE damage, she had a point-and-click stun, and she had insane movement. She was a nightmare to deal with. So yes, people will like old Irelia. Then there is Janna! So most of supports will be meh. And that's because they are the same, okay? They are the same as they are these days. However, you will see that most of the supports that are like healers and shielders, they were really designed after like the MMO Trinity, Golden Trinity, which means like a tank, healer, DPS. These characters were just healers. So you are standing behind your team, you are actually shielding people, you send out the tornado as a peel for your AD carry, and that's it. You will see you have a lot less tools. At least the W dealt a lot more damage back in the day, because it wasn't balanced at all, so full AP Janna actually was a menace. Then there is Jarvan. For the most part, Jarvan is the same. I will put him next to Mundo, because just like Mundo, the only difference is that the scaling of the numbers is really good, because he gets the attack speed, which these days doesn't matter that much. Back in the day, throwing out a flag that gave everyone attack speed with the slower gameplay and everyone actually like caring about even the smallest stats, especially if you are jungling, especially if you have like the runes and the masteries and you have to make sure everything works, the attack speed is so good. Who would have thought? But yes, everything else is the same. He has the EQ combo. The W is a little slow with the shield. The ultimate is the same, but you'll just see the raw numbers that come out of Jarvan are gonna be way higher. Then there is Jax. Jax is broken. So the vast majority of what Jax does is the same. The only difference is, actually, two things. His ultimate empowers him and gives him resistances. Nothing too crazy. His E passively gives him dodge. That's right, you don't activate it to like dodge attacks. No! Jax had a base chance that he dodges an attack and it does nothing. If you activate your E, I think it's bumped up to like 20 or 30% or something ridiculous like that, and if it is off cooldown, he gets like 10% or something like that. Regardless, Jax can entirely mitigate entire attacks through dodge chance, which means if he is fighting an auto-attack heavy champion like Tryndamere or Master Yi, he just mitigates their entire kit. And those champions, for the most part, can't do anything. People are gonna have fun with Jax. And on top of this, remember, just like Akali, hybrid items are really good. He deals hybrid damage. It's gonna be a nightmare. Also, I just remembered one thing. Oh my god. So Jax's E actually worked differently. I just remembered. Jax could only activate his E, because it was called Counter-Strike, if he dodged an attack. And when he dodged an attack, if he then activated it, he could stun everyone around him. Fun for everyone! So next, there's gonna be Jace. Jace is gonna be boring because it is, I believe, exactly the same as he is right now. There is nothing too different. Except he can be played a lot more as like a proper AD carry and stuff like that. Like he is a hybrid. I believe he was champion number 100, and because it was a special number, they were like, let's just make him a hybrid. So he can be played top, he can be played as AD carry, he can do anything because he's champion 100. He can do anything. That was kind of the point of Jace. But for the most part, he's gonna be the same. Jinx is the same. Nothing too crazy there. I don't know what modern Karma is doing here, but old Karma. People are gonna have fun with her, but they are not gonna like her. So let me explain. So old Karma, she still had the linking to your target that like deals damage or it heals. Then she had the shield, which she can put on an enemy. However, back in the day, if she put the shield on someone, it dealt damage around them. And then her Q was a cone damage in front of her. And of course, I believe you could still enhance it all with her ultimate. Once again, it's googling time because it has been years. Yes, so it actually worked just like the ultimate right now, where when you activated it, it enhanced the ability, and the shield didn't do damage by default, but if you activated your ultimate and then you shielded someone, it actually dealt damage around them, and her Q just dealt a lot more damage. And so all Karma did is that she ran close to the enemy, she spread out her knives, that was kind of her idea back then, and then she ran back, and she kept like healing and shielding. She was kind of like a hybrid mage for healing but also dealing damage. If anything, it was Riot's first try to make a support role fun by actually dealing damage. And it kind of worked, but it's nowhere near modern Karma, so people will like the gameplay of this one, but they will get bored of her really quickly. Then there is Karthus. Karthus is gonna be fun. Not because his kit is different. So, his kit is actually exactly the same. Except, he has a lot more tools to deal with the fact that he can die. For example, there is the Revive Summoner spell. So Karthus, by default, deals insane damage. He is very slow, very squishy, but just like how he works right now, when he dies, he can just use his abilities. The problem is, back in the day, his ultimate scaled insanely well, where if he got fed, he could literally one-shot an enemy. These days, there are a lot of like safety mechanics in place that make sure that like he can nearly kill an enemy, even if he's like really fed, but back in the day, no, there was no safety. He could one-shot anyone, not tanks obviously, but he dealt a lot of damage, and once he died, he could just use Revive and be back in the game. Of course, Revive had a longer cooldown, but yes, old Karthus was fun to play because he had really fun tools that enabled stupid gameplay, and people like stupid gameplay. Then there is... Did he already have this icon in Season 3? Anyway, Kassadin is gonna be likely broken, and that's because the silence is kind of a broken mechanic. And back in the day, movement was very limited. Like, if you have a look at all of these champions, almost no one actually has a dash or a blink or anything like that. I would say like 6 of these champions do, maybe. And so Kassadin having a teleport on his ultimate that has like 2 seconds cooldown was ridiculous in the old gameplay, and that's one of the main reasons why it's broken. But also, the silence actually didn't interrupt channels. It silenced you and prevented you from using anything, including summoner spells, for, I believe it was at least 2 seconds. I think it was more back in the day, like the old versions was like 3 seconds and more. Even if it is 2 seconds, it's gonna be way too long. And I wanna see how people would deal with it. So next, there is Katarina. Katarina, people will like Katarina because Katarina is insanely simple. Her E, you just dash to ally or an enemy and it just deals a lot of damage. Her Q just bounces between enemies. There is no dagger that like drops on the ground. It just deals damage. And her W deals damage around her. And her ultimate still does the same thing, except the range is a lot bigger. And so, old Katarina was new Katarina, but she didn't have to play around the daggers, and you didn't see where she was going. And so, because the modern version of Katarina, the reason why she drops the daggers on the ground is that so that you can see where she's gonna go. The old version didn't need it, so she's just gonna jump in the middle of everyone, she's gonna destroy everyone with the ultimate, and because there is a lot less tools in Classic League, like a lot less interrupts, a lot less CC, stuff like that, you will see that Katarina will be able to just go crazy. Because again, if you have a look at all of these champions, who can actually stun from these, or like do anything? Not that many people, so old Katarina will go crazy there. And there is Gale. Gale, for the most part, I don't think she's gonna be like that fun or that broken, because her idea is almost exactly the same as the modern version, except there are some differences, like her Q being a big nuke. You can now play her AP and the Q will be a big damage burst. Her E activates it, she gains the range and it deals damage around her. So the idea is that she doesn't ascend into getting range with levels. More than that, she activates her E, and the higher level she is, the lower cooldown there is on the E, so in the late game, it can be just permanent. That's kinda the idea. So she's a lot simpler. Her ultimate also doesn't deal damage around whoever you ult. It just prevents them from taking damage for a little bit. And that's kinda it. Like, Gale was really like an idea of an old paladin. That's like, you know, dealing damage, healing people, preventing damage. That's it. A lot simpler, not as crazy as the rest. People will still enjoy this one. Kennen is the same. Nothing too crazy there. Kha'Zix, for the most part, is the same, if he's even gonna be in Classic. Kog'Maw was reworked like 15 times. I don't believe Season 3 is gonna give him the ridiculous attack speed without cap. So I think it's just Kog'Maw is not gonna be that awesome to play because it's gonna be it's a hybrid damage that just destroys tanks. That's kind of the point. So you know what, I'm gonna give him okay, because maybe there is gonna be a point where Kog'Maw is actually gonna be really good at dealing with tanks, at which point people will just play him a lot. Then there's LeBlanc, old LeBlanc. I remember playing LeBlanc a lot. I played mid lane for quite a while. I enjoyed her. She is gonna be broken because people will have no idea what to do with her at first, because just like how it's with most champions, the old champions didn't have counterplay. They have the same tools that the modern versions do, but old LeBlanc just threw her Q and the ultimate version of her Q at the enemy, W once, and they died. That was it. Nowadays, the damage is split among all the abilities, so that in order to actually one-shot someone, you have to pull off all of the abilities, and you have to do all of it. Back in the day, the combo was you throw the chains at someone, you throw the first Q, you throw the ultimate Q, the chain procs, it procs the other Q, and then you W either to them to kill them, or just you W await for safety. And if the target was squishy, you guaranteed that was a kill. So you know what? It's kind of similar to how she works these days. But back in the day, again, numbers were crazy. Lee Sin. Lee Sin is very similar to Kassadin, where we are playing in a game where movement is very limited. There is not too much dashing and blinking around. And so to have Lee Sin, who can dash to an enemy if you land your Q, and to also dash to allies, and have ridiculous lifesteal as part of his kit, and the slow, and of course there is the insect ultimate. You'll see, kind of like Kassadin, Lee Sin is just gonna feel different because you are playing high movement speed champion in a slow game, and that's gonna be a difference. Leona is, unfortunately, not only does she feel the same, she also looks the same. It's the exact same model she had in Season 3, so nothing changed. Lissandra, I would say, for the most part, is the same. She doesn't have the Thrall. She doesn't have the passive. Other than that, here, E, Q, W, even the ultimate are the same. Nothing changed there. Lucian, I believe is the same too. Now, Lucian is going to be played a lot. If he's in Classic, Lucian is going to be played a lot, because his passive was actually really strong, the double hit. But for the most part, I'm gonna put him into boring because it's actually just the same champion. Lulu! Same as Leona. Not only is Lulu the same, I mean, she's gonna be good, but not only is she the same, she also looks the same. And the icon is the same. That's wild. Same as Lux. Lux is the same as the modern version, and I don't think there are any differences there. Malphite. Malphite is the same. Nothing changed there. Malzahar. Malzahar is gonna be good because his kit actually was a lot simpler. Because nowadays you are summoning the void creatures, and it's like the damage is kind of more spread around. The old version, the Q summoned the silence that like sliced the enemy, which also was a proper silence, just like how Kassadin works. You couldn't do anything if you got silenced. The W opened a little portal underneath the enemy, just like how now if you ult, you open the ultimate, you open the portal underneath them. Back then, that was just the W. You just opened the W and that was it. Meaning, you can use the W to clear minions. You just summon it where the minions stack. You can walk away from your lane, the minions are gonna die. And of course, you combine this with the Q, and as the Q is gonna jump around, kill all the minions. So what Malzahar did, what the old Malzahar did, is that he dropped his E on the minion, he dropped his W in the middle of all of them. The E killed all the minions, he got mana back from that, and that was it. It was the ultimate wave clear you could do nothing about. And of course, the ultimate is still the point and click, you stun them, and that's it. So Malzahar is gonna be good. I'm not sure if he's gonna be like in a broken state, but he's gonna be good. Maokai is gonna be... Maokai is gonna be okay. So there is a reason why Maokai was reworked. It's because Maokai is a really good jungler. His Q still deals, it's the knockback, it's the AoE damage. W is still the root. E is still the little sapling. His ultimate summoned a circle. If your allies stood in the circle, it absorbed damage. And then you could reactivate it and you dealt damage around you based on, or around the circle based on how much damage it absorbed. You know what was the counterplay? Everyone walks outside of the circle. That's how you counter Maokai. Maokai, really fun to play. The old version, actually fun to play. It is so easy to mitigate his entire ultimate, and that's it. Remember, old Maokai didn't have like the waves of roots that go towards the enemies. No! Old Maokai didn't really do anything. It was like a damage absorption that you walk outside of. And it is as if it never existed. So next, Mastery. Mastery is gonna be S. Not because AD Mastery, who cares about that one? AP Mastery is gonna be ridiculous. So how you can play Mastery is that you play full AP, and then you walk towards your lane, especially if you are against a melee mid laner on the other side. You Q a minion somewhere in the middle, doesn't matter which one. The Q is gonna deal ridiculous AP damage, because it has, I believe, 100% scaling. And then you just walk back. And that's it. You cleared everything, you poked the enemy for ridiculous damage, and that was it. And then if teamfight comes, remember, his cooldowns get reset with every kill. So if a teamfight comes, you go in, you Q, because it is a teamfight, everyone is clamped together, you're gonna deal ridiculous damage. Someone dies, you Q again. And then you Q again. And then you Q again. You get a pentakill. People are gonna like APE. So next there is Misfortune. Misfortune is pretty much the same. Nothing too crazy. And there is Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser is an S tier. Mordekaiser is not only fun to play, he's also ridiculously overpowered. Hence why there was a time where Mordekaiser had like 60% ban rate. At least. He was like, at one point, he was on the same state as Kassadin. Kassadin had like 98% ban rate. Because again, we are playing in a game with without movement speed. Mordekaiser was on the other scale. Mordekaiser was just ridiculously overpowered. So the way he worked is that his abilities, he didn't have mana, but his abilities ate a little bit of his own health. And it like popped it into like a shield. If he got hit, I believe, it wasn't even an activated ability. It's just like if he got hit, he procced a shield. That was it. Actually, no! The shield was permanently on, I remember. You didn't even need to get hit. So, based on how much damage you deal with your abilities, sure, you eat away your health. But that health gets converted into a shield. The issue is, if you buy Hextech Gunblade, the heal from that item is gonna outmatch the health that you take away with the abilities. Meaning, you don't have mana, and all your abilities now heal you and give you a shield. And because it all scales based on how many enemies you hit. So for example, his Q actually hits a target. It's just an empowered attack. If the target is isolated, it deals more damage. But if there are more enemies around it, the damage will actually split out shards into the enemies around the target. So, the more enemies there are, the more shield he gets, the more heals he gets, and so he can actually 1v5 if everyone is stacked together, because he can just out-heal and out-shield everything. He is supposed to be a raid boss. His E is also a damage in a cone that also heals him because of Hextech Gunblade and gives him the shield, also a lot of damage from that. The W is extra magic resistance and armor that he gives himself, which also gives him a little like shards that run around him and damage enemies. And the ultimate, it's gonna depend on which version we get, but the ultimate is a dot damage that you put on the enemy. If the enemy dies, Mordekaiser gets their ghost. That scales with all the stats that the enemy had. So when Mordekaiser comes in, successfully pulls off the ultimate, now it is 6v4. Think about that. So yes, Mordekaiser, I have no doubt, is gonna be played a lot, and he's gonna be broken. Morgana is gonna be... I'm gonna put Morgana here. So Morgana is the same as everyone else. But again, remember, this game is a lot slower. Meaning, there is not a lot of movement. Meaning, when you hit Morgana's root, it is a lot easier to do, and the enemies have no tools to really deal with it. So just the root from Morgana's Q is gonna be ridiculous based on how the game played back then. It was a whole different world. Then there is Nami. Nami is gonna be the same. Heals, damage, nothing too crazy. Nasus is also the same. Stacks, dealing damage with W. E is a slow. Ultimate makes him bigger. Nautilus is also the same. Q is the same. Shield is the same. E is around him. Ultimate marks them. It's the same. Nidalee... Nidalee is at least good. The issue with Nidalee is that modern Nidalee... her damage is split between you hitting the Q, and then you have to go into cat form. You get the increased dash to get to the target, and then you like deal the rest of the damage in the cat form. That wasn't the case back then. All of Nidalee's damage was in her Q alone, meaning it still had more damage with the range, but you just threw your Q, and with enough AP, you could one-shot the AD carry. And I mean literally, with enough range, with really good snipes, you were one-shotting people. And Riot didn't really care about, oh, maybe there should be like counterplay, maybe a little bit less damage on her Q and more damage in cat form. Maybe? No. Back in the day, one-shots. Again, enjoy. Then there's gonna be Nocturne. Nocturne, same thing. Nocturne has an ultimate that is, I believe, back in the day it was global. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was actually global. But you dash to targets, you pretty much spawn on them in a game with not a lot of movement speed. It's really broken to have an assassin that just jumps on people. So only because of that, he's gonna be good. Then there is Nunu. Old Nunu is gonna be fun to play for a totally different reason. Old Nunu is one of the best junglers in the game. So you still build him AP. His E deals a lot of damage because it's just you spit a snowball that deals a lot of damage and it slows the enemy, meaning you can kite indefinitely, because when the slow call goes off at maximum level, the cooldown on E is off cooldown. So you just kite. His Q, the bite, is still an extra smite. His W was Bloodlust, which actually increased attack speed of both Nunu and another target. So sometimes you played Nunu as a support that was just spitting snowballs and giving attack speed to your AD carries. And because the Q was like an extra smite, your support now had an extra smite. In the old game, Nunu was ridiculous, so I want to see what people actually do with him. Then there's Olaf. Olaf is pretty much the same. Nothing too crazy, and unfortunately, yes, even the model is the same. Then there is Orianna. Now, Orianna was good. I remember Orianna being banned a lot because, like, people hated playing against her because the auto attacks dealt a lot of AP extra damage. But other than that, it's gonna be just Orianna, nothing too crazy. I'm trying to think if anything changed, and I don't really think so. So next, Pantheon. So you know how I was talking about global ultimates with Nocturne? Pantheon has a global ultimate, which also scaled with AP. If you build... You know what? I'm gonna put him into fun. I believe his W scales with AP, and his ultimate scales with AP. Meaning that when Pantheon jumps onto the enemy with his ultimate, which had a ridiculously long cast time, but once he did... that was a lot of AP damage. Like, people called him the falling nuke for a reason. So, you know what? I just want to see what people do with the AP ultimate. Next, there is Poppy. Oh my god. So, Poppy still had the charge. You charge people into wall. You stun them. Her Q just dealt a maximum health damage, meaning it actually destroyed tanks. The W just gave her a little bit more armor and magic resistance. And her ultimate marked an enemy, and only that enemy could deal damage to her. No one else. Meaning you charged into the enemy team, you marked the support or the AD carry, and you could just go crazy on them and no one else could deal damage to you. Actually, what happened usually is that you charged into the enemy team, you used your ultimate on the support, and then you went and attacked the AD carry. And they couldn't do anything to you because of the ultimate. Old Poppy, kinda ridiculous. You know what? S tier, because I wanna see what people do with that too. Quinn is gonna be meh. Because it's the old Quinn, but worse. She doesn't really have the permanent swapping with Valor to, like, you know, go around and be ridiculous. It's an active ability now, and it's gonna feel a little bit worse. That's it. Rammus is gonna be ridiculous. we are playing a game without movement speed, with a charging armadillo that also locks you in place and deals AoE damage around him based on his armor. He is unstoppable. In fact, like, while a Mumu was very boring to play because, I mean, he hasn't really changed that much, there is a reason why Rammus, for the longest time, was banned a lot too. So it was like Mordekaiser, Rammus, and Kassadin. These were banned a lot. And I think people will find out why. Next, Renekton. Renekton is it's the same as modern Renekton, nothing crazy. Rengar is overpowered, quite literally, because like that's why they later gave him the system where the Q had reduced damage and it instead gave him attack speed and stuff like that. In fact, no, his W gave him attack speed, but back in the day that was on his Q. Back in the day, you jumped on someone with your Q, you waited till it was empowered, and you Q'd twice during the same rotation, and that one-shot anyone. And because back in the day you couldn't see stealth characters that were close to you, he was just one-shotting people. And there was not much you could do about it, and I think people will enjoy getting one-shot again. Riven is the same as the new one. Riven is the same. She was broken. Like, people played her a lot, but it's the same as the old one. Same as Rumble. Rumble is the same. Rise, I'm gonna put Rise into the middle. Not because he wouldn't be strong. In fact, like, I played Rise a lot. I like Rise. You know what? No, I'm gonna put him into an S tier. The issue is we have no idea which version of Rise it's gonna be, because Rise had, like, I believe 9 different kits. Rise was reworked way too many times, but it was always about Q dealt, it was all point and click, no skill shots. Q threw a ball at the enemy. E threw a ball that bounced around. His W was still the prison. And every ability you used lowered the cooldown on every other ability. So you just went around and you spammed your abilities. That was it. That's Rise. Next, Sejuani. Sejuani is probably it's gonna be good because of the ultimate. It's not gonna feel that great because she doesn't have the stuns that she has in the modern version. It's gonna be like, Sejuani is gonna be slightly worse because she doesn't have the same tools that she has in the modern game. However, again, everyone is slower. When she sticks to a target, they are kind of screwed. So I want to see what happens with that. Shaco is ridiculous. Shaco is broken. Shaco is so ridiculously broken that he will throw his boxes in his camp once the game starts. And then as his boxes are killing a blue buff or red buff, he will actually start jungling in the enemy's jungler's camp. And he will get 2 buffs at the same time. Just like how the other champions were banned a lot, Shaco was hated because of that. Shaco is really, really, really powerful at the start of the game. As the game is longer, unless he gets fed, he's not gonna be that powerful. But especially at the beginning, it is a nightmare to deal with. So Shaco belongs here. Shen is kinda a worse version of modern Shen, I think. So the old Shen threw out his Q that marked the enemy. If anyone attacked that enemy, they got healed. W was a shield. E was a taunt. Ultimate is the ultimate that he has right now. So it's kind of a little bit more boring, but maybe people will like that he's simpler. I mean, that's what Classic is supposed to be. Everything is simple. So you know what? I'm gonna put him as good because it is actually the old Shen, but he's simpler. And he deals slightly more damage. People might actually enjoy that. Shyvana. Wasn't it the Shyvana that we had until now? I'm gonna say Shyvana's okay. She will be a really good jungler. Actually, I'm gonna put her next to Mundo, never mind. She's gonna be a really good jungler because she has a lot of AoE if she's in Classic. Her clears are gonna be really fast, but she's very simpler and we kinda know what she does. Singed. Nothing changed. Sion, fun. You play AP Sion, even AD Sion. So Sion didn't have the revive. He didn't have the zombie mode. Sion, if I remember correctly, he had the shield. I don't know, like, if it was Q, E, whatever. I just know what the 3 abilities did. One ability was a shield. If the shield lasted throughout its duration, it would explode and deal damage around it. It scaled with AP. The W gave him Frenzy. It increased his attack speed by like 40%. It was a lot. And his E is a targeted stun. And his ultimate gave him Lifesteal. And I don't think it gave him anything else. So, also his passive just blocked attack damage from basic attacks. Anyway, the point is, what AP Scion used to do, specifically AP Scion, is you pop the shield starts charging. Once it is, before it is fully charged, you go to the enemy, you stun them, you pop the shield, they die. They explode. AP scaling was at 100%. It was ridiculous. AD Scion was really fun because he had the ridiculous frenzy buff. And so AD Scion is gonna work as well. Also, I remember his passive actually gave him permanent health based on minion kills. People will like that one too. So yes, but AP Scion was a menace. Sivir, very simple one. It is, I believe, near identical to the one we have right now. Skarner, I'm gonna put him into the middle because I don't know if Skarner is better or worse. And also, he had like a million different kits, so I don't even know which version it's gonna be. Then there's Sona. Sona is a heal bot. She deals a lot of damage, to be fair. But Sona is a heal bot. It's, you know what? No, let's put her. She's, I would say, okay. I would say Sona. Old Sona is better than Janna, I would say, because healing was a lot stronger and the poke with her Q was a lot better. So Sona is gonna be good. Soraka, simple, but she didn't have. There was a part of her kit she didn't have, and I don't remember which one. Oh my god, I remember. No, Soraka is gonna be good. Her Q was AoE damage to everyone around her. You didn't target anyone with your star. It literally just damaged everyone. And so you ran around with full AP and you were just like calling down stars on everyone. Especially later into the game, Soraka's gonna be ridiculous. And Fat Soraka can actually win the games. Swain, I'm gonna put Swain into S because I mained Swain for a while. Mid lane, old Swain. When Classic comes back, there is a good chance I might play Swain. I mean, I main Modern Swain as support in League these days, but Swain, the Q was a dot, the E was a dot, W was a root with a dot, and his ultimate was a dot. It was, you are playing Affliction Warlock, and I loved it. Then there is Syndra. Syndra deals burst damage, and it's nearly identical as the new one. Talon! If Talon is in Classic, Talon is gonna be really good because he has a lot of front damage. It's kind of like Malzahar. Also, his Q is a silence, I believe. Also, Talon is gonna be good because if he is in Classic, it is a direct counter to Kassadin. Remember, you will be countering people left and right. Taric is S tier. Because if he's properly built, he's indestructible. His stun is a point and click. You just stun people. You don't aim anything. You just stun them. He deals damage around him based on his armor. You stack armor. You are unkillable. Being unkillable gives you damage. It is a closed loop. It is ridiculous. Teemo is not gonna be that fun to play. It's the same. It's the same. Nothing crazy. Thresh is the same. Tristana is the same. Trundle, there is no way we get Classic Trundle. But the Trundle, he gave the attack speed to himself, the movement speed. Did he summon the pillar? I think he did. It was like Pillar of Junk. Hold on, old Trundle. I need to remember because the ultimate should be also a dot. Hold on. So yes, the Q was the bite. That's the same. The W is still the area, that's the same. Pillar of Filth, still the same thing. And the ultimate actually drained the life from the enemy. So, for the most part, it's gonna be the same thing. The thing is, Trundle steals a lot more damage from the enemy. And so you will see he will hit a lot harder. The reason why he was reworked is because, like, thematically he didn't really make sense in Modern League. But also, back in the day, he was almost played as an assassin. Like, he dealt insane attack damage, kind of like Master Yi. So I want to see what happens with that, but other than that, if people find it too squishy, he's gonna be kind of screwed. Tryndamere. Tryndamere was banned a lot in Old League, and I wonder it's because everyone was worse, because these days, in lower elo, you also ban Tryndamere. Old version of Tryndamere was just ridiculously good, because his lifesteal and his healing was way too strong against anyone, but he was countered by burst damage, and there's a lot of burst damage in the game right now, so I would say it's good, because the numbers are gonna be towards, scaling towards him, but also there is a lot of burst damage in Old League, so we'll see. Old Twist of Fate is gonna be good, because the ultimate is global. And also, he can be played as AD carry. People are gonna like that one. That's pretty much it. Global ultimate carries him. Twitch is gonna be really good because, again, stealth is kind of broken. Stealth can't be detected, so once he's in stealth, he can do whatever. He comes behind the team, kills them from behind, doesn't matter. Udyr, I liked old Udyr. Udyr is gonna be probably S tier because old Udyr was one of the best junglers, specifically. You'll see that Udyr is gonna be insane because he is one of the few champions with a dash on his E. It is a stun. His Q is gonna deal ridiculous dot damage. Once you hit someone with the Q, the bleed will be ridiculous, and so you'll see Udyr will actually, once Udyr gets blue buff, he's gonna carry a lot. Urgot is gonna be so much fun to play. So the way Urgot worked is that Urgot shut out his Q. Once he marked anyone with his Q, his E, which was a little bolt of damage, became global, and it was targeting whoever you hit with your Q. So your Q marked an enemy, and your E could then spam damage towards them. It's kind of like, I can't really explain it. It's kind of like you have to live through it to feel it and to see how nightmarish it is. However, at the same time, his ultimate is useless. Because Urgot is a champion that is supposed to be played with long range poke, but the ultimate swaps a place with an enemy. So if you use it on an enemy, you just hop into the enemy team. You don't want to do that with Urgot that is played in the AD carry role. Yeah. So next there is Varus. Varus is gonna be good. It's not gonna be probably broken, but Varus is gonna be good because just like Nidalee, the long range poke had no downsides. It was just ridiculous. There was no setup to be needed, and so yes, he's gonna be just ridiculous with the poke alone. Vayne, for the most part, she's gonna be definitely good. You'll see that she's gonna be played a lot, but it's the same Vayne, nothing crazy there. Veigar, it's the same Veigar. He's gonna be played a lot because of just the AP burst, but it's the same. I wonder if Classic Victor is gonna be a thing. But Victor is gonna be okay regardless, but it's gonna depend on what kit he has. I mean, all of them, like, he has the laser, he has the shield, he has the W stun, he has the ultimate, which is like AoE damage. Like, all of it is the same. But the upgrades always work differently. I want to see what version of upgrades he's gonna get. Then there is Vi. Vi is the same. Vladimir is gonna be broken. The reason why Vladimir was reworked is because Riot admitted he cannot be balanced. Either he is useless or he is broken. Q healed for a ridiculous amount, and there was no like setting up like the second Q or like after you fill up a bar. It's better. No. The Q is just a heal with the damage. It's really good. The pool, the W, still avoids anyone who can get close to you. E is just AoE damage towards anyone. You don't charge it. You just walk towards the enemy. You press it. You E everyone around you. That's it. And the ultimate is still the same thing. You kind of like mark everyone for damage. It explodes at the end. But the issue is, old numbers were not made for Vladimir, and he was reworked because he was broken. So next, moving on, there is Volibear. Volibear is gonna be a really good jungler specifically. I don't think he's gonna be as broken as Udyr, but he's still the same auto-attacking champion. He can be played top lane. Top laners will also like Volibear too. But Volibear is all about you ramp up your auto-attacks. They start, you use your ultimate to do lightning. The lightning scales with AD, and so once you are in your ultimate, if you're in the middle of the enemy team, you can just like chain lightning everyone dies. However, you don't really have big tools to get into the enemy team. So we'll have to wait and see. I actually, with that said, I think he does have movement speed increase, but he doesn't have the dash. Could be wrong, but we'll see. Udyr will be good. I want to see if he gets broken. Warwick will get broken, because Warwick is, just like Nunu, one of the best junglers in the game. There will be ridiculous heals. And the reason is, while to every other jungler, every camp feels like you're fighting a raid boss, Warwick, no. Warwick out-heals anything. He is constantly at good health. He will need blue buff because he is still mana hungry. His Q deals damage percentage health, which means he can deal with tanks too. His auto attacks do that too. And lastly, his ultimate is a point and click that teleports to the enemy and stuns them. You don't aim anything. That's the big motto of Classic League. You don't aim. You just click. Maybe that's why Classic is gonna be popular. Then there's Wukong. Wukong, a lot simpler. He's gonna be good because he's simplified Wukong. Dash, he still has the dash. He still summons the clone. The Q is the same. Ultimate spins around him, deals ridiculous damage, nothing else. These days, the ultimate is like spread across the clones and stuff like that. That's not the case, meaning that all the damage is cramped into the ultimate itself, so he deals a lot of damage. That's it. Well, there is a good chance Xerath is gonna be broken. Old Xerath worked with in the way where the Q dealt damage, just like it does now. The E is a mark which you threw at the enemy, and if you then hit the mark with your Q, it stunned them and dealt damage. The thing is, his W rooted him in place and increased the range on all of his abilities. Meaning that he rooted himself in place under the turret. He hit you with the long range E. If he hit you with the Q, it detonated, dealt a lot of damage, and you were kind of screwed. The ultimate, back in the day, was actually you just summon a comet from top down. You didn't like throw anything in a direction. It was just damage comes down, and that was it. Basically, his old W is his new ultimate. Or sorry, the other way around, is his old ultimate. And again, a lot simpler. Let's see if that works. Xin Zhao, good jungler. It's gonna be... It is different. I want to put him in the boring because he is different from modern version of himself. But good jungler. I'm gonna put him okay because he's like Trundle. A lot of auto attacks. He still has the dash. The Q is a knock up. And the ultimate knocks everyone away. And that's it. Kinda simple. If old Yorick makes it into the game, I want to see what people do. Because again, Yorick is kind of either useless or overpowered because he summons ghouls. He has 3 different ghouls. That's all he does. His Q summoned a ghoul from his next hit. His W summoned a ghoul in an area that exploded with AP. And his E summoned a ghoul on the enemy target. So it was like 3 ghouls. And the ultimate empowered everyone. All the ghouls, and gave him attack speed as well. So what it was supposed to be is that like the Q is like a tanking ghoul, the W is like an AP ghoul that slowed the enemy, and the E is like an assassin ghoul. So he summoned his own army. The fantasy of old Yorick is insanely good. I love playing old Yorick. There was a time where I mained him in top lane because he was ridiculously fun to play, and all the ghouls applied on-hit effects. It's gonna be fun to play him if he's in Classic. Then there's Zac. For the most part, Zac is simpler. He's okay. Simpler version of the one that we have right now. You know what? Let's put him next to Shen. Zed is gonna be good. I don't think it's gonna be like broken. If Zed even is in Classic. He has a lot of damage on his E. Like later they move the damage from his E to his Q. But you will see, for the most part, all you do is you summon your clone in the lane, you spin with the clone, and that's all you do. You don't even need to aim your Q. You just summon the clones for the E's, and that's it. Ziggs. Same Ziggs as the one we have right now, except the W doesn't break turrets. Zilean. Same Zilean, same model too. And Zyra, okay, so Zyra is gonna be, I don't want to say good, I want to say fun for one reason. The old Zyra passive. So the way Zyra works is that her Q was actually like a little circle of damage. Her W still spawned the seed, which if you hit it with her Q, you spawn a flower. E was a line, a root, in a line, just like how it works right now. Except, the ultimate was still the ultimate. Except when Zyra died, she turned into a flower, and that flower could spit a line of damage that scaled incredibly with AP. It was a massive burst of damage, which means once Zyra died, there was a good chance she was able to take someone else with her. That's gonna be fun to play. But yes, we made it! Huzzah! This is the entire list. That's totally objective. No subjectivity to be seen here, right? But yes, just have a look at just the S tier, which is like the OP and fun tier, and you will immediately see what will be happening. You will have a lot of Shakos, Wreaking Menace. Top lane is gonna be full of Gangplanks, and Jaxes, and Yoriks, if Yorick is there. And Mordekaiser and Akali. As you can see, the reason why top lane was so popular in Classic League is because there was a lot of broken champions there. And then you also had some like junglers. Jungle was also really popular lane because you had like some ridiculous one like Udyr was there, and Rammus was there, and Nunu, and Warwick. And you'll see like AD carries, like none of them were really broken. Like, yes, they were. I put them in the bottom because they are the same as the ones that we have right now. But none of them were really crazy broken, except for Graves. Graves was nasty, and Draven. So Dravens and Graves, we'll see a lot of those. Outside of that, everyone else is fine. But yes, be ready for the junglers, the top laners, and mostly these two to wreak havoc. And that is the Classic League experience I remember.